Hey everybody, this is Ethan from Pop Entertainment, and we're here right now at the World Cafe Live with Tyrone Wells, who's going to be performing later tonight. Thanks for taking some time to talk to me.
Absolutely.
The last time we talked to you was about 7 years ago when you had just released Hold On, your album in 2007, so a lot has changed since then. But first we want to talk about your new album, Roll With It, that was just released. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about how you went about either writing or recording the album, and maybe what some of the songs mean to you.
Yeah. My kind of normal role with making a record is I just write a bunch of songs, like anywhere from 40 to 100 songs. And I do a lot of collaborating, so I like to co-write as well, and do quite a bit by myself. And then at the end of the day, we just pile them all up and decide which ones we think are, worthy of recording. So that's kind of the process. And then in terms of producers, we just looked for somebody that we thought would be great on an indie budget, but still make it sound like it could rival any record out there in terms of production quality. And we found a guy named Dustin Burnett, who's in Nashville, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville, and he's fantastic. And he made a great sounding record. And that process was a lot of flights back and forth from Nashville to LA. We did some recording in LA at my home studio and some at his studio. But it was a great process.
Very cool. What's it been like touring this album as compared to previous ones?
This one definitely has more production. So, this is the first time I've kind of brought like a light show and just more elements. I'm playing more instruments than I ever have. Usually I used to just always play acoustic guitar. On this tour I'm playing keys and playing ukulele, and then even not playing any instruments for some songs, which is also kind of naked feeling and different for me. But yeah, it's been fun, and the band that I've got together is great. And there's a lot of up-tempo stuff on this record, so the show feels like it has a lot more energy, which I dig.
Very cool. Has there been a certain stop on this tour that you really enjoyed so far, a certain city that you really like playing?
Yeah, being from the West Coast, whenever I play the West Coast, I always love it, because I tour more on the West Coast than out here. So Seattle and Portland are always just amazing experiences. On the East Coast, I would probably say, no offense to Philadelphia, because I love playing here, but there's something about playing in New York, and we usually do 2 nights at this venue called the New York City Winery, which I really love. But the World Cafe Live in Philly is one of the best venues on tour. I always love playing here.
Awesome. You mentioned before in your first question, but you've been really big into indie distribution. I know in the past you released 2 albums with Universal, but since then you've returned to indie distribution. Could you talk about that a little bit? And what's so attractive about that type of...
Well, just being independent is, for me, the best-selling record for me is actually the record that I released after I was on Universal, which is really great because then I owned it outright, and it was mine. A lot of times when you sign a deal, it's funny because you usually get a good signing bonus, but then it's like you don't see money for a really long time because you have to recoup all that, and then they spend a lot of money and make you recoup that as well on marketing. So, which I get, but as an artist, as a singer-songwriter, it was actually really beneficial for me business-wise to get off of the label and start selling my own music. And so it was really cool because they helped kind of up the profile of the music and get the music out there. And as an indie artist, now distribution in record stores isn't quite as important as it used to be. There are still those like me that like to go into a record store, but very few people buy music in record stores anymore. They buy it online or they just stream it. And so the game has changed a lot, and so there hasn't been much of a need for distribution, really. We are starting to work with a company on putting them in certain record stores across America, but I just feel like, for every 20 albums that people buy, maybe one of those is in a record store. So it's just, I don't know that it's all that important.
Right, it's the way things are changing.
It's just changing, man. The game is changing.
Yeah. Since we last talked to you, you became a father. How has that affected your career and your music?
Well, I think, just feeling like it's a lot harder to leave on the road, honestly. I have 2 daughters. One is 3 and the other just turned 5 months. And so just being away right now, especially with the 5-month-old, because she's changing so much. They both are, really. So it just means a lot of FaceTime and Tango app,
right.
Just watching kids and talking to them on that. But also, I think it gives your work more meaning though too. It's like whereas when I was single working at music, I just had different reasons, and then once I got married and had kids, it's like now I'm providing for my family, and it like infuses the music in my career with a lot more meaning, and I love that about it. And I just try to tour more strategically and not be gone forever, you know, like try to be gone for 2 or 3 weeks at the tops, and then back home to kind of recharge and be with the family.
Very nice. Now, you've had a lot of success having your music being played in TV shows, American Idol, Grey's Anatomy, One Tree Hill. What's that experience like, having your music heard like that and being reached to people through that platform?
Yeah, I think it's great. You know, radio is something that everyone's gunning for, but very few actually really hit it at radio. And I've had some radio success, but not a lot. But I have had a lot of stuff on TV and film, and I like it just because it introduces the music to a whole new audience. There have been times where it's kind of a weird usage of one of my songs, like this one murder mystery they were talking about like the grisly details of this murder, and one of my love songs was like playing in the background. I just thought that's so weird, but I love that, and honestly, like as an artist and as a musician today, that's still a great way to make some really good income. We call that mailbox money, and we love that. They just send you a check.
Yeah, that's gotta be fun. Last question, what is one thing your fans might not know about you?
They probably don't know that I could beat almost all of them at ping pong.
Wow.
And I beat a very, a famous professional athlete at ping pong once, which was cool because he's not a ping pong player, but he's the quarterback of the Steelers. And so I beat Roethlisberger at ping pong.
Really?
But he beat me like 6 times, and I beat him once.
Very cool, very cool. All right, well, thanks for taking some time to talk with us. Good luck tonight.
Thanks.
And wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everyone.